What is up? Day 2. Here we go. Building this business. Got to get to 100,000 by the end of the year. Today, I want to share how I decided on the business partner I'd be working with. This is one of the most important decisions you could ever make. It is like a marriage. And by the way, did you know that the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says 70% of all business partnerships in the U.S., they fail? 70%. That's higher than the small business failure rate. For example, over half of all small businesses, they fail within the first 5 years. The partnership failure rate is even worse. Would you invest in stocks that have a 70% chance of failing? Let's say you had a herniated disc in your back. Would you pay a doctor tens of thousands who's had a 70% failure rate? So I knew that when I ran into Ron and we started talking about this opportunity, I couldn't just jump in because it seemed like a good idea. That's a problem with a lot of businesses. People apply the same thinking, deciding what brand of Doritos to buy, to picking a business partner. But a business partner is like a marriage. It's a really big deal. And if you have a 70% chance of losing, you've got to make sure you've thought through everything. And so to be very honest, I didn't come up like strategically with these 4 questions, but organizing my thoughts to communicate this to you, I ended up going through 4 questions. Question number 1, what does God think? I mean, we consult business books, ChatGPT, Grok, mentors, but what about the greatest being in existence? Because God is a whole lot smarter than you and me. So I fasted for 24 hours, I prayed, and I did not ask God to show me if I should work with Ron. Instead, I asked this question. Give me a reason not to work with this guy. Like knowing my heart to protect my own heart, because from it flow the springs of life. I was asking God to give me a reason not to protect myself against this opportunity, which I was very excited about. Question number 2, is he a man of integrity? I met Ron 15 years ago. This is before I worked for Apple. I had just tried to plan a church. It failed, decided to get a job to make money, found a telemarketing position being advertised online at CDC News, went in, and I and 2 other dudes were trained on how to do telemarketing for this company. After the training period was over, Ron, my manager, brought me and these 2 other guys into a room, sat us down at a desk, and put a phone in front of us. And he goes, "Who wants to make the first phone call?" And so I picked up the phone and I made the first telemarketing phone call. The next day, I walked into work and I noticed the 2 other guys weren't there. And I said, "Ron, where are the 2 other guys?" And he goes, "Seth, we were only going to hire 1 person. Yesterday was the litmus test." I got to watch Ron and how he interacted with other people, with his boss, with his subordinates, with his colleagues. And the one thing I noticed that was very consistent in Ron was that word, consistency. Even when the company was going a different direction or stuff happening inside the office that was very inappropriate, he always chose the right path. And that's how you can tell someone's integrity really quickly. When the general populace or flow opinions going one way, if a person just like, "Oh, that must be the thing to believe or do," they have no integrity. They have no foundation. They're literally a sheep just following whatever the crowd is going towards. Instead, Ron made decisions of integrity. And I always respected that about him. What's funny is, before I reconnected with Ron, as in like a few weeks ago, I was the top candidate, according to the headhunter agency, for working in a sales role at acquisition.com. Alex Hormozi, Layla Hormozi. And my wife and I were this close to moving to Las Vegas. The headhunting agency were convinced I would be selected. We were looking at the demographics, the geography, everything, even looking at trails you can go hiking on, the housing market, investment opportunities. Like we were that close. And then Alex Hormozi's team rejected me. Why? I had too much sales experience. They wanted someone more green. Okay, so clearly God is not letting me walk through that door. And that was another way I knew, okay, so far everything seems to be turning towards me going this direction. Question number 3, does his skill set complement mine? So here's the thing. When you go into business with someone, it's really important to understand what are their skills and what are yours. If you're both really good at sales and marketing, if you're both good at operations, if you're both good at leadership, you don't need a business partner. It's really going to create a lot of conflict because 2 captains will sink a ship. And so when I went into this, I realized he has great background in leadership, in training, in management, some sales, but specifically in asset protection, which is what we're focusing on. And I have a lot of leadership in building businesses, operations, sales as well, and marketing, and a lot of the tech background stuff. So it really was an incredible fit. But that brings me to question number 4. Does his personality complement mine? Now that might seem trivial, but think about it. You would never marry someone you don't enjoy being around. I'm extremely intense. I'm passionate. I drive some people absolutely insane. Ron is the opposite. He's chill, but he's absolutely crazy too in his own way. Like when I suggested to Ron that we ask Josiah if he wants to join, and Ron responded like this.
Josiah, he helped build our last company to 50 million. So he did all the back end, the websites, the blogs, the technical stuff, the SEO, like he handled all the technical side. So I'm thinking about if he would be an opportunity, if you're open to this, to him being part of this venture.
Ask him how his day is going, and here's how he responded.
I'm awake, ready to go.
Let me share one more with you. Is he easily offended? People easily offended are insecure. They're like a time bomb ready to go off. They do not have strong character. They always have some insecurity they're trying to fill. And if you trigger them, boom. But check out how he responded when I told Ron, I need the permission to tell him if he sucks at something.
So I'll be very, very honest with you. When I was running Just One Dime, we would bring in guest speakers from time to time, people who were experts. 99% of the time, and I'm not saying this is you, just sharing what I've experienced, they were terrible at video and our rankings went down every time. I want to have permission to be honest in feedback if and when you do a video and say, Ron, that sucks. Our videos need to be good. And by good, I don't mean super high editing. The editing needs to be good at storytelling. But there's certain things that make a video very engaging and high in conversion, and certain things that people are like, oh, just another talking head, and they swipe and they don't listen. And then we start getting punished in the algorithm.
The way that I have anticipated this conversation is you are the expert. You've been doing this for years. I have not. The thing that I think we need to be mindful of is 2 things. One, excuse my French, I don't give a shit to be in front of the camera. I really don't. And I don't care to say, hey, this is mine and his company. That's not me. But what I will say that makes sense in the space that we're playing in, there's more trust. And you know this. When they see this gray hair and shit,
you're right.
And then you've been in the business for 20 plus years, 25 years, that also brings stuff to the table. And I am definitely on board with Seth doing the look at this all the time. And then every once in a while, hey, this is my partner. This is the reason why we're doing this. He's the guy that's behind the scenes. And I know he's ugly, but we got to put him in the camera every once in a while because
I love it.
My partner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I have a question for you. What do you think is missing? What questions would you ask if you're about to go into a partnership with someone? What am I missing here? Maybe there's something I haven't thought of. I would love to hear your thoughts below, and I'll see you tomorrow.